Rift is a free-to-play fantasy MMORPG that released back in 2011 and was developed by Tryon Worlds but is now run by Gamigo. Rift has been in maintenance mode since about 2017, having received no content updates in a while. However, there is an update slated to come out this year, which will obviously be the first big update that the game has seen in quite a long time. So I figured I would check out the game and see how it was doing and how it held up in 2022. My previous experience with Rift was pretty minor, trying it out in college with a friend for a short time, but then dropping the game soon after. So I was definitely interested to see how the game held up after the years. But guys, before we do get into the review today, I do just want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Advanced GG. Advanced GG have the only proven gaming supplements shown to improve gaming performance. Using green tea caffeine as a healthy natural form of caffeine, it improves your focus, concentration, and memory, gives faster reaction times and decision making, reduced error rates as well. It also has no sugar, gluten-free, keto-friendly, vegan-friendly, fasting-friendly, no unnecessary fillers such as maltodextrin, gives you 4 to 6 hours of energy, a vitamin complex for your daily dose of B and C vitamins, and all advanced products are open label and do not hide behind a proprietary blend, so you do know exactly what you are drinking. And the best part is that all of the benefits of Advanced GG have been clinically proven twice in double-blind studies, so you know that you are getting the best of the best in terms of your product. Now, if you guys do want to grab some Advanced for yourself, you can click the link pinned in the comment below and use code Dottz at checkout to save 10% on your entire order. Also, there will be a surprise in that comment for people who did get to this video early, but you're going to need to check that comment for that. Now, without further ado, let's get back into the video. Rift, like I said, guys, is a free-to-play theme park MMORPG with a microtransaction shop as well as an optional subscription membership known as Patron, which does give you a whole slew of benefits. The game has 2 separate factions, the Guardians and the Defiant, along with 6 race choices: the Dwarves, the High Elves, the the Mathosians, the Bami, the Eth, and the Kalari, with the different races being tied to the specific factions. The game also has 5 primary classes, which are known as callings. You have the Warrior, the Rogue, the Mage, the Cleric, and the Primalist, which does require the Primalist calling pack. In addition, each class has 3 specific souls or talent trees that are very similar to the old school World of Warcraft trees, which lets you customize your class to your liking, giving you a character that has a very distinct feel based on where you put your points. The game also does have the Holy Trinity, with characters falling into the DPS, tank, or healer category. The max level in Rift at the time of making this video is level 70. The game also does have the usual endgame content you can expect from an MMORPG, such as dungeons and raids with multiple difficulty levels, as well as a variety of PvP modes, with Warfronts being similar to WoW's BGs, PvP dimensions with player customizable PvP maps to drive tons of player-driven content, open world PvP on PvP servers, as well as a 3-team PvPvE mode known as Conquest. Rift has a very similar style and feel to World of Warcraft with its leveling process, and it's something you'll notice very quickly. However, during the leveling process, you'll also notice these more dynamic world events known as rifts that you can participate in for extra rewards, as well as instant adventures that allow you to go group up with others to compete world objectives for rewards. And the great part about the instant adventures too is that you do scale up, allowing you to play with players of a variety of levels. Rift also does have player housing, a central auction house, a mount and pet system, achievements, transmog, gathering and crafting professions, and much more. Now, guys, with that short about out of the way, I want to get into the good, the gray, and the bad with Rift, kicking it off with the good things. And the first thing that jumped out at me as a primarily PvP player is the PvP dimensions. I love the concept of player-hosted, player-driven, custom PvP modes as a way to hold tournaments and do events. It is something that I desperately wish other games that I play had, and I really think it's a super cool feature to see in a game like Rift, and it's cool to see the devs add something like that, so definitely a big fan of that. In addition, the game just has a wide variety of content. It's got all the stuff that you could expect from a good MMORPG, such as dungeons, raids, a variety of PvP modes. You have all the casual content such as housing, pets, mounts, transmog, achievements, gathering and crafting. You also have those dynamic world events. There's just a lot of content in the game that you can do, and so a lot of options based off of what you prefer. Now, the game does feel very similar to World of Warcraft, giving a sense of familiarity when coming to the game if you have played WoW before. It was something that back when I tried the game, way back when, and still noticed it now when I tried, it just feels very similar to WoW in a lot of ways, but old school WoW mainly, but I will get into that in my cons as well. My next pro is going to be the old school talent trees that offer massive build variety. Anybody who's watched me for any amount of time knows that I am super into character builds and character building, and seeing just the wide variety of builds that you can make with all the different talent trees, I really like. I loved this style of talent tree too. Back in the day when I played World of Warcraft, being able to make that hybrid Frost and Blood Death Knight and feeling like, like I built something unique that was, my own, And so seeing that similar style here in Rift is something that I do really enjoy. Another pro is that the game is free to play. You don't have to pay anything to try it. You can try it out completely for free, mess around, and then if you do decide, hey, I want to play the game a little bit, more competitively or take it another step further, you can subscribe and get that patron membership. And then my final good is that the world feels very open. I've barely hit any loading screens while playing the game, and the ones that I did hit went very quickly. And I know a lot of people are into, not having those instant zones, making everything feel like a truly open world, kind of similar to how BDO doesn't have any loading screens between going through the different areas. And so Rift does have that too, if it is something you are looking for. Now, my one gray area point that I have here for Rift is going to be the tab targeting combat. Again, tab targeting is something that I personally do not mind, but it is not for everyone. And so if you don't like tab targeting, you're probably not going to like Rift, because in my opinion, Rift's tab targeting just feels like a slightly less polished version of WoW's. Granted, tab targeting is tab targeting, but it just, if you don't like tab targeting, you're not going to like Rift. So it's just something to keep in mind when you do play the game. Now, guys, we are going to move into the cons for the game, and I do have some pretty big ones. Now, the first one is that the game is horrifically monetized. When I was doing my first play session for the game and started playing, seeing the monetization of the game instantaneously made me not even want to really play anymore. Just gameplay aside, there were certain things about the gameplay and the leveling process that I thought were kind of boring, but the monetization, like when I saw how bad the game was monetized, it really put me off. You have microtransaction currency basically everywhere. You have it in NPC vendors. You can buy literal gear off of the microtransaction shop. Like there's loot boxes that have gear in the microtransaction shop. The game feels very pay to win. Now, when I did talk to somebody in the comment section of my previous video on the monetization, they did say that a lot of the gear that is on the cash shop is a bit of a noob trap, but there are some other things on there that kind of are pay to win and that you're going to want to buy if you want to play the game at a competitive level. And to me, it just feels like when you see monetization this egregious, literal gear that you can buy with microtransaction currency, it just makes the game feel kind of soulless. And it feels like, again, as somebody who was new coming into the game, knowing that the game is not in the healthiest of states, it makes me feel like they're just monetizing the hell out of the game to try to just leech as much money from it as they physically can, since it's just in maintenance mode. So there's a lot of bad crap on the microtransaction store. It's really bad. It's one of the worst cash shops I've seen in any of the games that I've tested so far. Also, speaking, like I mentioned, the leveling process is insanely boring. It feels like a much less streamlined and worse version of what World of Warcraft's leveling is, which, again, my next con was going to be, it feels like WoW from Wish.com. Like, the game just feels, it has not aged well. Obviously, it's been in maintenance mode for 5 years, and because of that, it's obviously not been updated, but you feel it. When you play the game, it feels dated with graphics and audio. It just feels like a relic from the past. And the game was just like a garden that was like let overgrown and not paid attention to, and now there's just weeds, the microtransaction weeds everywhere, and it's just, it's just not, it's not a good game. It's just not a good game anymore, unfortunately. And because of that, my final con is the population of the game is quite low. There's not a lot of people. You do not come across a lot of people while playing the game. You know, so the world does feel a bit kind of open and empty, and there's really not a lot of people there. With that being said, though, do I think Rift is worth playing? I do not. Rift, unfortunately, it seems like it never got off the ground. And although from what I've been able to tell from doing my own research, it seemed to be a pretty solid game on release, it just aged very poorly. And then the horrendous monetization practices from the publisher put the final nail in the coffin. And unfortunately, I think even with a content update coming this year, for Rift to become a game that has any semblance of relevance in the current MMO market, massive overhauls would need to be done to graphics, audio. The monetization model would need to be completely changed, and the new player experience would also need to be totally overhauled, and I just don't realistically see that happening in an 11-year-old game that's been in maintenance mode for almost half its lifetime. So unfortunately, I do know there are some fans of Rift out there, but I unfortunately cannot join you as one of them. But guys, with that being said, that is going to be it for me today. Is it worth playing for Rift in 2022? Now, if you do play Rift, or if you have played Rift, what have your experiences been like with the game, and what do you think about the game now? Feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And guys, if you did like this video, I'd really appreciate if you left a like on it. It does help me a ton in the YouTube algorithm. And for more MMO Is It Worth Playing videos, as well as other MMORPG content, feel free to hit the sub button as well as the bell to keep those notifications on. So thank you all so much for stopping by today. I do very much appreciate it. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.